Tatiana Valença. Do you know someone who has diabetes? Please raise your hand. Have you imagined what changes people with this illness have in their lives? And what is inconvenient to say to people that have this illness? Are there some few things that you should say or that shouldn't say? So, when I was little, I used to get sick a lot. And I needed to take a lot of medicine. And that made my glucose levels higher than usual. So, when I was little, I needed to go to an endocrinologist and to a nutritionist. And they used to tell me, you shouldn't eat this, you shouldn't eat that, you should do this, you should go get more exercises. But they couldn't get in a consensus of what type of treatment that I should get. So I just forget of all the things they were saying to me. So a lot of years passed, the pandemic came, and my sister, Bruna, she's a doctor, and she was worried about my glucose levels after a long time of eating a lot of things that I shouldn't be eating and a lot of time without checking my glucose levels. So I did my tests, and according to the Lifeline Clinic website, the normal glucose levels in fasting, which means without eating, is between 80 and 100. And when it's more than 126, it means that you have diabetes. Mine was 160. So my mom called me to tell me the bad news because she was the one responsible to getting the results. And she called me to tell me the bad news, and I got very worried about myself, and I was terrified because I had a disease and I didn't know how my life was going to be after I discovered it. When she ended the phone call, my best friend, Mel, called me, and I started to tell to her like what I was feeling and the whole thing that was going on with me, because I needed to just tell someone because I couldn't hold it in my heart anymore. So I told her everything, and it made me feel a lot better. I also started to wonder what type of diabetes I have, what I'm going to do now, how I'm going to tell my friends that I have this disease. I was very worried about myself and about what people would think about me. So, according to the LARC Clinic website, diabetes type 1 or DM1 is when your immune system starts to attack the insulin-producing cells in your body. And the insulin is the one that is responsible to decrease your glucose levels. Meanwhile, DM2 or diabetes type 2 is when you have bad eating habits, you don't do many exercise, and you have the genetic influence also. So in my mind, all I could think of, I am not the person with the healthiest lifestyle, and a lot of people in my family have this disease, so I probably have diabetes type 2. And that was supposed to be good because the treatment for diabetes type 2 is easier. You maybe will have to take some pills or eat healthy and make some exercise. And with diabetes type 1, you're going to need to learn how to use injections, how to change needles, how to put glucose sensors, count the amount of carbs you're going to eat, and have a specific routine every day. So having DM2 was actually better than having DM1. But in my mind, it meant that I was responsible for having my own disease and that I made myself sick. And that was starting to make me feel very guilty. So I did another blood exam to discover which type of diabetes it was. I made an exam that showed me the amount of antibodies in me. In laboratories, the normal amount of anti-GAD in your system is 10 or less, and mine was 1,491. So I had GM1. And me, my sister Bruna, she's a doctor, and my endocrinologist Nara, they taught me everything that I needed to know about my disease and made my life very much easier. In the beginning, I used a glucometer. That is the thing that you need to make a little bit of your finger bleed. Because I didn't want people to see that I used a Libre and that I had a disease. And some days of the week, I needed to have lunch here at school. And I didn't want people to see me doing this with myself, doing the blood test in my finger. So my family said, you should use a Libre. It's going to be much easier for you. It won't need to hurt every time you eat. And you should do it. It's much easier for your life. But I was very scared of what people would think or say when they saw this. But after a long time of piercing my finger, I learned that maybe using a Libre was better than hurting my finger. So I use it, and it's very easy because I only need to pass my phone here and it's going to be okay. But unfortunately, some inconvenient people have inconvenient comments. And they say, you're so young and you already have diabetes, or you can't eat this, you can't eat that, you are going to feel sick. Or your family gave you a lot of sugar, haven't they? And I was like, no, it's not my fault, it's not my family's fault. I can't control its cause, and only me and my friends and my family know how my body behaves when I have certain types of sugar and amounts of sugar. But what about parties and travels? How am I going to eat what everybody's eating if I have this condition? So it's all about balance. For example, if I'm going to a birthday party, I'm not going to eat 10 brigadeiros and cake or something like that. I'll maybe have 2 brigadeiros, and then after a long period of time, I'm going to have more 1 brigadeiro. It needs to be with balance and calm, but of course, I can eat what everybody is eating. And sometimes I'm going to eat the healthiest things that I could possibly eat, and my glucose levels are going to be like this. It's a little bit dangerous to have a glucose level like this because it's going to make me feel sick. But that means that I need to change insulin doses. Of course, it's not easy to have a disease that doesn't have a cure and that I'm going to have to deal with my whole life. But it's not the end of the world, of course. And the thing that I think is positive of having diabetes type 1 is that it made me grow my sense of responsibility a lot, and it made me wonder how I should be grateful that my family can help me and give me a good treatment and let me go to the best doctors I could possibly go. And that's it. It made me feel more responsible and grateful for what I have. Thank you very much.